If we want teens to have good mental and emotional health, we must start with making sure they have some control over their lives. Over the 24 years I've worked as a psychologist with teens, I've consistently seen that those who make at least some decisions about what they do, who they spend time with, where they go, and what is important to them do much better than those who do not have this freedom. Research psychologists sometimes call this self-determination. Related slideshow, celebrities who have spoken out about mental health provided by photo services. In an interview with Dr. Phil on his podcast, the Game of Thrones star revealed that seeing negative comments on the social media regarding her on-screen character of Sansa Stark harmed her mental health. She said, "I would just believe it. I would say, yeah, I am spotty. I am fat. I am a bad actress. I would just believe it. I would get the costume department to tighten my corset a lot. I just got very, very self-conscious." She also revealed, "I just would cry and cry and cry over just getting changed and putting on clothes and be like, I can't do this. I can't go outside. I have nothing that I want to do. I've suffered with my depression for 5 or 6 years now. The biggest challenge for me is getting out of bed and getting out of the house. Learning to love yourself is the biggest challenge." After treatment through therapy sessions, she began feeling much better. "I'm on medication and I love myself now, or more than I used to, I think," she said. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the actress opened up about her struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder. She revealed the breakdown was caused by criticism of her acting skills after a string of successful films like Bend It Like Beckham, 2002, and Love Actually, 2003. "I did have a mental breakdown at 22, so I did take a year off there and was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder because of all of that stuff." The singer has been vocal about her fight with post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety, a pre-existing condition. It became worse after the terror attack at her May 2017 concert in Manchester, England, which killed 22 people. "When I got home from tour, I had really wild, dizzy spells. I've always had anxiety, but it had never been physical before. There were a couple of months straight where I felt so upside down," she admitted in an interview with Elle. Speaking to The Guardian, the Crown star said she struggled with frequent anxiety issues and that the condition had worsened over the years. "When you have anxiety about, I don't know, crossing the road. I used to think that this was my lot in life, to be anxious. And that I would struggle and struggle and struggle with it, and that it would make me quite miserable, and that I'd always be restricted." The singer, who admitted to struggling with obsessive-compulsive disorder (OCD), told Cosmopolitan UK, "Everybody has different ways of handling stress. And, for me, if I get really stressed about something, I'll start to have the same thought over and over again, and no matter how many times I get to the resolution, I feel like something bad is about to happen if I don't keep thinking about it." During the release of her EP in August 2018, the singer-actress told L'Officiel USA her songs reflected her emotions. "This EP is mostly just about how my emotions have been, and about my anxiety, and about how I've been struggling with depression, and how it's okay to feel those feelings. A lot of people like to judge you, and make fun of you on the internet, and people make you feel crazy whenever you're in a depression or having anxiety or having a panic attack. It's about that, and being sad and having your emotions and not being able to ignore the feelings you're having." During an interview with Essence magazine for the July-August 2018 edition, the American singer-songwriter opened up about her intense struggle with depression. She said, "These were difficult years when I struggled with depression. The struggle was intense. I could analyze the source of my depression forever. Low self-esteem might be rooted in childhood feelings of inferiority. It could relate to failing to meet impossibly high standards. And of course there are always the societal issues of racism and sexism. Put it all together in depression. a sadnacious and scary condition. Thankfully, I found my way through it. Following the suicides of Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain in June 2018, the actress posted a message on Instagram, in which she spoke about her experience with depression and suicidal thoughts. She wrote, "I have lived with anxiety and sporadic bouts of depression for most of my adult life. 10 years ago I tackled it, learned to fully understand it, and haven't felt the dark depths of depression in about a decade. But before that, thoughts of suicide crossed my mind more than a few times." For those who don't understand depression, when someone is in that place, it's not because they want to die. It's because the ongoing, relentless darkness is too painful to endure anymore. You don't have to suffer from anxiety and depression to feel that low. Something very sad or traumatic can happen to you just once to bring about that feeling of despair. But please listen to me, from someone who is telling you that she's been where you are when I say that suicide is not the right choice. Yellow Heart. During an April 2018 interview with the New York Times, the Deadpool actor revealed, "I have anxiety. I've always had anxiety. Both in the lighthearted, I'm anxious about this kind of thing, and I've been to the depths of the darker end of the spectrum, which is not fun." He also admitted to being racked with dread and nausea before making public appearances. He overcomes this by channeling his Deadpool alter ego and practicing meditation. "When the curtain opens, I turn on this knucklehead, and he kind of takes over and goes away again once I walk off set." In an interview with People magazine in April 2018, the singer revealed her struggle with bipolar disorder and why she hid it for so long. "Until recently I lived in denial and isolation, and in constant fear someone would expose me," she said. First diagnosed in 2001, when she was hospitalized for a mental breakdown, she also spoke about her recovery. "It was too heavy a burden to carry, and I simply couldn't do that anymore. I sought and received treatment. I put positive people around me, and I got back to doing what I love, writing songs and making music." The actor opened up about his battle with depression as a teen in April 2018. "Depression never discriminates. Took me a long time to realize it, but the key is to not be afraid to open up. Especially us dudes have a tendency to keep it in. You're not alone," he wrote to his Twitter followers. The Oscar-winning star spoke about problems she suffered as a child during an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in 2017. "I was a very, very, very anxious child, and I had a lot of panic attacks," she said. She told another publication that it got worse. "At a certain point, I couldn't go to friends' houses anymore. I could barely get out the door to school." She benefited from therapy and youth theater sessions. "You have to be present in improv, and that's the antithesis of anxiety." In therapy since she was 14, Anderson suffered from several mental health problems, including anxiety. "There were times when it was really bad," she revealed to The Guardian. "There have been times in my life where I haven't wanted to leave the house. I struggled a lot with anxiety and depression. My mom sat me down when I was about 18 and told me, there's a serotonin imbalance in our family line and it can often be passed from female to female," the actress revealed during a 2016 interview. "I got on a prescription when I was a teenager and I'm still on it today, and I have no shame in that," she added. Recognizing the need for time to rest and recuperate both physically and mentally, Selena Gomez took a break in 2017. That was the year she discovered she had lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease. "I've discovered that anxiety, panic attacks and depression can be side effects of lupus, which can present their own challenges," she told People magazine. "I need to face this head on to ensure I am doing everything possible to be my best. I know I am not alone by sharing this. I hope others will be encouraged to address their own issues," she added. The Australian singer and Home and Away star, who has been battling a brain tumor, opened up on his struggle with depression and anxiety during an appearance on the TV show Weekend Sunrise. In October 2018, Growing up, whether it be having a single parent, trying to deal with that at a young age, not knowing how to deal with it, were, among a lot of other things that caused stress for me. It was learning how to deal with these issues, he said. Appearing on her mother's show, Making a Model with Yolanda Hadid, the younger Hadid's sister said she suffered from social anxiety. I would literally start crying and shaking if I had to do interviews at red carpet events. It was really nerve-wracking and it's scary, she said. She eventually overcame it. It gets a lot better once you have to talk to people every day. Then you're like, okay, I guess it's my job, I have to do it. Speaking on a radio interview, the pop star said he began suffering from anxiety attacks in 2017. I knew people who had suffered from anxiety and found it kind of hard to understand, but then when it hits you, you're like, oh my god, what is this? This is crazy, he said. His single, In My Blood, talks about his struggle and part of his recovery. Every time I play that song for someone, I go, just so you know, I'm okay. Don't worry about me, I promise, I'm okay. The chirpy Jane the Virgin star shared an Instagram clip in 2017, sans makeup and in casual clothes, in which she said, I suffer from anxiety. And watching this clip I could see how anxious I was, but I empathize with myself. I wanted to protect her and tell her it's okay to be anxious. There is nothing different or strange about having anxiety and I will prevail. In an interview with Glamour magazine in 2017, Tegan spoke about postpartum depression after the birth of her daughter Luna in 2016. Getting out of bed to get to set on time was painful. I would go 2 days without a bite of food. Most days were spent on the exact same spot on the couch, she revealed. Postpartum does not discriminate. I couldn't control it, and that's part of the reason it took me so long to speak up. I felt selfish, icky, and weird saying aloud that I'm struggling. Sometimes I still do, she added. Kendall Jenner's struggle with anxiety issues was revealed on the reality TV show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She said her work as a model was a trigger for her attacks. There's a lot that happened this past year, starting with like Cam's robbery, said Kendall. Then I got robbed, and I had my stalkers. That's why I don't really like going out anymore. That's why I don't tweet. That's why I don't Instagram. That gives me anxiety, too. The English singer-songwriter spoke about his struggles with depression in an interview with the Sunday Times in September 2017. He admitted, this job is really bad for my health. It's going to kill me, unless I view it in a different way. The more why and arrogant I look on stage, the more terrified I am. I don't know if I'd be this mentally ill without fame. I don't think it would be as gross or as powerful if it hadn't have been for fame. You get a magnifying glass in the shape of the world's attention and your defects will obviously magnify, too. In the November 2016 issue of Allure magazine, the actress admitted to medication for depression, something she'd been on from a young age. She said, I'm on Lexapro, and I'll never get off of it. I've been on it since I was 19, so 11 years. I'm on the lowest dose. A mental illness is a thing that people case in a different category from other illnesses, but I don't think it is. It should be taken as seriously as anything else. Seyfried added she underwent therapy in 2015. In an interview with The Mirror, the singer-songwriter-actor admitted she took medication to deal with her rise to stardom. She said, I needed a moment to stabilize. When my career took off, I don't remember anything at all. It's like I'm traumatized. I needed time to recalibrate my soul. Since then, she claims to be in a better mental space. Speaking to Harper's Bazaar in 2014, she said the previous year had been a rough one. I was angry, cynical, and had this deep sadness. Like an anchor dragging everywhere I go. I just didn't feel like fighting anymore. The model-turned-actress spoke about how, from an early age, she suffered from bouts of depression, anxiety and suicidal tendencies. Speaking at the 2015 Women in the World Summit, she said, I was completely suicidal. I didn't want to live anymore. I thought that I was completely alone. I also realized how lucky I was, and what a wonderful family and wonderful friends I had, but that didn't matter. I wanted the world to swallow me up, and nothing seemed better to me than death. The actress checked into a treatment center to seek professional help for postpartum depression. The actress gave birth to daughter Kaya Evdokia in December 2014 and has been vocal about her struggle with postpartum depression. During an appearance on a TV show, she said, "It's something that needs to be talked about. Women need to know that they're not alone, and that it." Doshil, the legendary Hollywood comedian, who died at the age of 63, was open about his long-standing battle with drug and alcohol abuse. "It's just literally being afraid. And you think, oh, the alcohol will ease the fear. And it doesn't. It's fearfulness and anxiety," he shared in 2010. In April 2011, the actress spoke about her struggle with bipolar disorder. "If my revelation of having bipolar 2 has encouraged one person to seek help, then it is worth it. There is no shame in seeking help," she said. In 2005, he told Rolling Stone, "I've started to notice that, as you get older, mental health is as fragile as physical health. You can really get sideswiped by stuff like depression." In 2013, Perry shared his struggle with depression, alcohol and prescription drug abuse. "I was a sick guy. I think I was pretty good at hiding it, but eventually, people were aware." After spending time at a clinic in 2010, Lovato revealed she had been treated for anorexia, bulimia and bipolar disorder. "There were times when I was so manic, I was writing 7 songs in one night and I'd be up until 5:30 in the morning." The comedian has been open about his struggle with depression. Depression isn't a straightforward response to a bad situation. Depression just is, like the weather. It's hard to be a friend to someone who's depressed, but it is one of the kindest, noblest and best things you will ever do. In 2010, Ham said medication had helped him in his battle with depression. "You can change your brain chemistry enough to think, I want to get up in the morning, I don't want to sleep until 4 in the afternoon." In her memoir, The Bedwetter, the comedian wrote, "It happened as fast as a cloud covering the sun. As quickly and casually as someone catches the flu, I caught depression." Judd spoke about going to rehab in 2006, when she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. "I looked really good on the outside, but I had a lot of anxiety and insomnia." Shields wrote about her experiences in her 2005 book, Down Came the Rain: My Journey Through Postpartum Depression. She advised, "Don't waste a minute not being happy. If one window closes, run to the next window, or break down a door." Describing her struggle with depression, O'Donnell said in an interview, "The dark cloud that arrived in my childhood did not leave until I was 37 and started taking medication. The gray has gone away. I am living in bright technicolor." The Indian actor spoke of his depression in 2010. "Due to the shoulder injury and the suffering, I had got into a depression mode, but now I am out of it. I feel happy and boosted with energy." The actress has been vocal about her bouts of depression. "There were days when I would feel okay, but at times, within a day, there was a roller coaster of feelings. Finally, I accepted my condition," Padukone told an Indian daily. Many studies show people with a greater sense of self-determination are emotionally more stable, more likely to have good health, happier and more likely to have better social relationships. While self-determination matters throughout our lives, it becomes critical at adolescence. "I sometimes talk with families about the 3 petaseconds which come with puberty. Perspective peers in place. In other words, as a teen I want my own perspective, to have an opinion about what I do and care about. I want my own peers to make decisions about who I'm with and when. And I want my own place to be places without adults around me." These teenage desires can be terrifying for parents. We have a strong and evolutionarily driven instinct to keep our offspring close to us, have them follow our advice, and to always know what they are doing. When teens want to do the very opposite, our subconscious parent brains signal danger, and we start to worry or feel frustrated. This terror is well founded in many cases. Adolescents do not have the same ability to make decisions as an adult. They are less likely to notice and plan for risk. They lack an adult's self-control skills. They are more likely to prioritize peer relationships over school, health, and sometimes even their physical safety. This means that parents who severely restrict their teenagers' ability to make choices may well avoid some problems in the short term. However, there are two big drawbacks to doing so. As mentioned, research shows that teens who have less control over their activities are unhappier and have lower self-esteem. Sometimes a moody and angry teen is effectively saying to us, "I have a desperate need to do things myself and make my own decisions. And when I can't do this, it makes me feel I'm not good enough or capable of growing into an adult." I've seen many teens who are grumpy, irritable, and unhappy who become much happier when their parents choose to trust them with more choice and control over their lives. The second problem with keeping our teens from making their own decisions is we lose the ability to help them in the long term. One day we will not be living beside our young people or have much input over their lives. They will suddenly have full control over what they do, who they spend time with, and how they make decisions. If we have not gradually provided more and more freedom while we were there to coach and support them, then their mistakes may have much bigger consequences. This means as parents we have a tough road to navigate. We need to hold back our teens in some areas, knowing they are not ready to be adults, and yet gradually trust them with more freedom and control as each year passes. The families I've worked with who have done this well understand that their role as parent of a teen is that of a coach. As coach, they do three things. First, these parent coaches always have an eye out for what skills a teenager needs to build. They see problems as resulting from skill gaps, not personality flaws. They have many conversations with teens to build skills. What went wrong there? How might that be different? What would you do if this event happened when you were out at night? How do you resist the temptation to be online when you should be studying? Would you like me to tell you how I manage this situation myself? Secondly, these parent coaches allow teens to experience the consequences of their poor decisions. If you don't get that assignment finished, then you will have to discuss that yourself with your teacher. If you get home so late you can't get up for your housework tasks the next day, then you'll need to spend time doing it later instead of going out again. Thirdly, these parent coaches take every opportunity to cheer madly from the sidelines. "I loved the way you did. Thanks so much for. I appreciated it when you. Can I help you here? Is there anything I can do? I love talking to you about." Coaching teens can be scary, tiring, and frustrating. It's far easier to take over. But coaching leads to happier, better adjusted teens who are more prepared for adulthood. Coriolis Smout is a clinical psychologist who specializes in working with children and teenagers.